Howdy equipment people. What's today, like April 6th or 7th? I pre-do these usually. So. Prince George, Edmonton. Prince George, Surrey. Kind of already spoiled it now. Let's have a look. Now, these guys were still old school equipment operators then, running these old square boxes. Wasn't too many creature comforts in there then. Stuff has come a long way. One excavator in an auction, and a goofy Kato at that. That's some weird dynamics. Nothing too fascinating here. We're here. The timber jacks hadn't become green yet. At that point, they were still red. That's British Columbia Ministry of Transportation and Highways. That too. They had their own drilling division, seismic. They would do like bridge abutments, stuff on the Coquihalla when they were doing the engineering. They'd see what they needed for footings. Over to Edmonton. I just scan through this stuff if somebody wants to hit pause and they're like, hey, we had a 1980 Kenworth at that sale, or we bought one. Well, there's your serial number, engine type, transmission. 5 and a 4. That's cool. I guess we're looking at an old brochure. Nobody drives 5 and 4s anymore. My dad did. He knew how. I never got to learn, because we didn't have one. We had a Mack with a triplex, which I think he said was an 18-speed. It had 2 sticks. He was quite the artist running that thing. But last of the old schoolers. He's 75 now. And Alberta dump trucks are so much different than BC dump trucks, which are so different from Eastern United States dump trucks. They don't seem to do the cab guard or bull board or headache rack, whatever you want to call them. It's a very different setup. You'd never see that here. Ever. $1987. Rock music was still a real thing then. It didn't have to apologize for itself or pander to anybody. I would guess that that machine with all that jewelry hanging off it, running through Alberta, through farm fields, has probably got stuck once or twice in its lifetime. And what a chore to extract it. Well, let's see what was else in there. The 528 skidder. They were a big machine. They've gone the way of the dodo bird. If anybody knows the one in BC and it's sort of in one kind of almost piece and they want to sell it, let me know. I've got someone that's highly interested in those. The little Davis, it's like a case. You could probably could have got that with a D100 backhoe attachment on the back of it too. Original Komatsu colors. An old right-hand drive bantam. They were loud and noisy, but there was lots of them around. Lots made their way into the bush. The bantam co-ring, getting Washington, Oregon down there, the big 66 44s and whatnot. Rigging them out for logs, loading. C-Series link belt. They were good machines. They really were. $1992. I got married that year. I still remember. Seeing what the dollar was worth. $1.23. Nothing changes. We're always way below. That co-ring became timberjack, so that same one would have become a green machine shortly after. And I think John Deere acquired timberjack, didn't they? Those strokers have pretty much gone obsolete up here too in the last 15 years. Mind you, all this stuff has the old square machines. That'd be cold running those up there. Up in the middle of BC where it's cold in the winters. Just having some realization today looking at all this old yellow equipment that how far this stuff has come. Like it really has come. A skidder today would be more comfortable than being in a car. They have more options and radios and satellites and swivel seats, air controls. Not air control, air seats. Probably don't even need ear protection in the cabs. They're probably that quiet. I've only run old skidders, 404s, 540As. Stuff where you'd wear foam earplugs and a set of Peltor, the black and red earmuffs that were meant for being used around aircraft. You had 2 sets of hearing protection. I still can hear. That was a big trailer for the day, a quad axle. Any people on the American side, when we say a logging Jeep, for some reason these got called a Jeep. These little step-up fifth wheel attachments. You could run as a low bed tractor, or you could hook up to log rigging and then the trailer could stack onto that trailer. Sometimes these would have 2 fifth wheels and they could pin slide this ahead on the fifth wheel to get this to run up the low bed ramps and get the back wheel up in the air. Some different setups. But who wouldn't want one of them for running around the backyard? They're just cute. Those little bombardiers, flex track, that's a Nodwell. Oh, C&L Logging bought that truck. No, well, I won't say his name. Doug bought that truck and C&L Logging bought it afterwards at that time, and it did a timber sale. I have a picture of it somewhere on the deep in the photo albums. Or Province of British Columbia Ministry of Transportation and Highway units. They were quite the thing. I was young then, but they were quite the operation. And all kinds of equipment, loaders, borrow pits along the highways, maintaining stuff, building stuff. And then one of our premiers, I think it was Vanderzam, he privatized all that. I don't have an opinion if it was good or bad, but it was neat seeing those old orange fleets all around. Or maybe it wasn't that premier. That's going back a long time. Most premiers aren't very notable around here. They don't do huge things. Why is a D8 always just art? Like, that should just hang over the fireplace in everybody's house. Just a piece of art. So's that. That should hang in a basement somewhere. I say it every time, but Cat just nailed it. Just gorgeous equipment. Just rugged, beastly, mean-looking stuff. Lasted for years. Not like some of the other companies, they were still trying to find themselves, had goofy lines and designs. Maybe like Case. Yeah, here's your example. Take a 1975 piece of Caterpillar equipment, and you take a mid-70s piece of Case equipment. It just does not have that timeless look. The Deer was always a real good looking skidder through the 70s there, early 80s. The A models weren't, that we had with that goofy rounded canopy around your back legs and your bum around there all tapered. This one went really long. It's a toss-up between trying to do 3 of these or 4 of them. Five-axle trucks. They've also gone the way of the dinosaur. British Columbia, famous M. Macmillan Bloedel. Harvey Reginald Macmillan. That was a big company. $951. Cat did the 931, the 941, the 951. 960 anything doesn't ring a bell except in wheel loaders. And they did the 977, the 983. And if you're like me, you've got that one with the little hand crank on it in your basement on the shelf on display. The big, whatever, the 1/16th or 18th, the big toy model. Volvo wiggle wagon. Don't know much history on those. They were called Volvo BMs. I think overseas they might have been called BM Volvo. There was 860s, 860As. And Columbia Trailers is they build, I don't know if they're still around. I'm not far out of it, but they built the login trailers. I don't know if it was Columbia Remtech or it's Columbia Trailers. I just happen to have access to all their old Ritchie Brothers mail through the person that I get them from, or got them from. So, all right, thanks for watching. Almost as long as a sitcom. Hopefully there was a bit of calm in it. Okay, later.